Is the sound even better with this? Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Heather and as always I'm reading with a vengeance and I hope you are as well. If you're an OG watcher, thank you so much for coming back. If you're new to my channel, a very warm welcome to you. I'm very happy to have you here and I hope everybody is doing very well. Today I am doing the 10-year book challenge. Now I found this online when I was doing a random search for, I don't remember if I was looking for tags specifically or challenges, and I thought, if memory serves, I thought I found this on a blogger's site. And so I thought it was a blogger who had created it. And now, of course, going back to look for it online, I can't find the original place that I found this. But then in doing a search, I discovered that it was a booktuber who created this tag, and that several booktubers have done this tag / challenge. I guess it is a tag. When I went to look at the original video, it is a tag, but when I found it, it was just called a challenge. It's neither here nor there. But anyways, the creator of this tag / challenge is Rincey Reads, and I will link her channel and her original video down below. And I did notice that some other booktubers have done this in the past, and you can do it basically in a year. I wanted to do this for a couple of months, but you'll be able to tell with some of the questions that it's better to do at the end of the year. So that's why I saved it for the end of the year. Now, the idea behind the 10-year book challenge is there are questions that you answer from this year's reads and then from books that you read 10 years ago. The problem I had, I really wanted to do this year, and 10 years ago, of course, was 2012. And I went back, and I've been doing the Goodreads reading challenge, yearly reading challenge, since I've been on Goodreads. I've been on Goodreads since 2009, and I feel like, well, let's look. The very first year that I did the Goodreads reading challenge was 2011. And then it skips to 2014. So I didn't do the reading challenge for 2012 and 2013. Now, I can think of reasons why I didn't do the reading challenge those 2 years. A lot was going on those 2 years. I met my husband in 2012, and we met in April. I also remember I had an injury at work, that I had surgery and all kinds of stuff right before I met my husband. And then when I met my husband, my life kind of turned upside down with moving, and just all kinds of life changes happened in 2012. So I know I didn't do a whole lot of reading, much less documenting my reading journey in Goodreads. And then 2013 was when I actually got married, when I actually moved across country. I left my career as a police officer and changed my career. Lots happened in 2013 as well. So, like I said, I definitely wanted to do this challenge this year. I didn't want to wait a whole nother year to do it. Not that it would have mattered, because I didn't do it in 2013 anyway. So I would have had to wait till 2024 so that I can do 2024 and 2014. That wasn't going to happen. So what I decided to do was just include this year's books, and then instead of 10 years ago, I went back 11 years, and I'm going to talk about the books from 2011. So all of that to say, let's get started. So the first question is, what was your favorite book of 2011? My favorite book of that year, hands down, was Modoc by Ralph Helfer. Oh, and before I forget, there's a subtitle. It's the true story of the greatest elephant that ever lived. I've talked about this book more than once. I've always been an animal lover, but when I read this book, it really was the catalyst for me becoming an elephant lover. Since then, I have spent time at an elephant park in Thailand. I've talked about that before. But this book is the true story of a man. He talks about when he was a boy growing up. He grew up in a circus, really, and he befriended this young elephant, and they became very close. And throughout the story, of course, the boy grows up and leads his life elsewhere, and the elephant changes hands that leaves the circus. It's sold to different people, and she's treated, you know, badly sometimes, not so bad other times, and it just talks about each of their journeys and then how they reconnect at the end. And I sobbed my eyes out more than once reading this book. It broke my heart into a million little pieces and then put it back together again. It's beautiful, and I absolutely loved it. And I love elephants. I have an elephant tattoo. I have elephants throughout my house. Yes. Anyways, that was my favorite of 2011. What has been your favorite book so far of 2022? Now, I'm going to be doing a video, obviously, of my top 20 favorite books of 2022. So I don't want to give a spoiler. I will tell you, if you've been following my videos at all, it'll come to you as no surprise that in my top 22 of 22, I will probably be talking about The Heart's Invisible Furies. I'll probably talking about The Island of Missing Trees. I will probably be talking about The Confession, among several others. But I haven't even determined what my favorite book so far is this year. And there's a couple of weeks left in the year, so I might find a new favorite. So I can't give a solid answer for this question. My apologies. Next question is, what was your least favorite of 2011? Now, it's been obviously more than 10 years since I've read those books. Normally, I would let my feelings, my gut would tell me what was the most visceral dislike I have for a book. But too much time has passed for me to be able to do that. So I can give you a handful of books that got either 1 stars, or I don't even remember if I was DNFing back then. I didn't start DNFing until recently, relatively recently, like in the last 5 years. But I can tell you the books that got the lowest ratings for 2011: The Pleasing Hour by Lily King, Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood, although I feel like that one is one of those books where I read at the wrong time. I don't think I was mentally ready for The Blind Assassin, and I might give that one another go at some point. Freedom by Jonathan Franzen, The House on Mango Street by Sandra Cisneros. And then this one was such a disappointment. This is one of the rare occasions where the movie was better than the book, in my opinion. I know, blasphemy. Who am I as a reader? It's just the case. But Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close by Jonathan Safran. Absolutely enjoyed the movie much better than I enjoyed the book. Sorry. Okay, so what has been your least favorite of 2022? My dilemma with this question is, do I count DNFs for this one? Or do I just count my lowest rated books that I have finished? I think in the spirit of fairness, I'm just going to go with the lowest rated ones. I have a 1 star of Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. It's a collection of short stories. I did not get along with those stories at all. I gave The False Friend by Mila Goldberg 2 stars. I gave Open Water by Caleb Azuma Nelson 2 stars. Did not get along with that one. I was very disappointed that I didn't like that one more. I gave 2 stars to The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin. I gave 2 stars to Robert Louis Stevenson's Treasure Island. 2 stars to Beatrice and Virgil by Yann Martel. 2 stars to Artificial Condition by Martha Wells, which is the second in the Murderbot Diaries. Super disappointed that I didn't enjoy that one more. The graphic novel Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, I gave 2 stars. 2 stars to Joe Hill's Nosferatu. 1 star to No One Is Talking About This by Patricia Lockwood. Did not enjoy that one at all. And spoiler to an upcoming wrap-up, if I haven't published it already, I gave 1 star to Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. Next question is, what is a book published in 2011 that you still want to read? There's a couple that I happen to have on my shelf. The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern, Anna Dressed in Blood by Kinder Blake, and The Hypnotist's Love Story by Leanne Moriarty. I'm really hoping to get to those next year because I have, with the exception of Anna Dressed in Blood, I have the other 2. I know I have The Night Circus, the physical copy, and I have the Moriarty one on my Nook. And then what is a book published in 2022 that you still want to read? Super easy. I want to read Book Lovers by Emily Henry, Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis, Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid, The Diamond Eye by Kate Quinn, Notes on an Execution by Danya Kukafka, I Must Betray You by Ruta Sepetys. Spoiler alert, I'm listening to that right now. Upgrade by Blake Crouch, and Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Next is, what is a genre you used to read a lot, but don't read as much anymore? I would have to say romance. I used to read as a very young reader. I used to read a lot of Danielle Steele. I read most of her books at the time in my maybe late teens, early 20s. I love Danielle Steele books, and there's a couple of them that I would read again because they were like epic family dramas. There was a lot of romance in it. I mean, I think Danielle Steele is classified as a romance novelist, but Thurston House is one of my favorites. The Ring was one of my favorites. The Promise I absolutely loved. Yeah, so I'd have to say romance is a genre that I read quite a bit of when I was in my early 20s, and I just don't read very much of it now. I get caught up in the hype, like I read The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary because everybody was talking about it, and I really, really enjoyed it. That was really cute. I read Take a Hint, Chloe Brown, I think, by Talia Hibbert. Talia Hibbert. Really, really enjoyed that one as well. But just in general, I don't seek out romance anymore. The next question is, what is a new genre you've discovered since 2011? Oh, sci-fi and fantasy, absolutely. I think I read The Martian. It wasn't the year it came out, it was the year that the movie came out, and I read it and absolutely loved The Martian. I still have Project Hail Mary on my to-read list, and I really, really want to get to it soon. But so yeah, sci-fi, and I never thought that I would be into sci-fi as much as I am, and I'm really, really enjoying it. Fantasy, I want to enjoy, and I'm really having a hard time. I'm still on the lookout for that fantasy novel that I really, really love. I have yet to read like Robin Hobb, Brandon Sanderson. There's another one I can't think. For some reason, I really enjoy fantasy, and I just haven't gotten there yet. The next question is, what is a reading or book habit you're hoping to leave behind in this decade? My answer for that is getting caught up in hype. I have to say that I've only been caught up in hype when it comes to books since I got on Bookstagram and Booktube, and there's the Bookstagram darlings and there's the YouTube darlings, and there have been a couple of books that I've been drawn into that hype only to be disappointed. I think there are exceptions to that where everybody is not only talking about a book but loving a book, and that can be useful. But I don't want to read a book just because of hype, and I really want to step away from that. I don't think I have acquired that habit as bad as I could, but it has happened, and I just don't want to do that anymore. And the other thing is, I don't want to read just for my channel. I don't want to have this channel that I do just for fun affect my love of reading, which I do for no other reason than my pleasure. That's what reading should be all about, is for pleasure. And then finally, what is a new reading goal or habit you want to create in the upcoming decade? I just really want to keep expanding my mind as far as what I read, who I read. I think this past year, I've done a really good service for myself as far as expanding genres. I think also what I would like to do, and I've talked about it, but I just haven't done it yet, but I really want to read authors from different countries. Now, I think most of my reading has been American authors, British authors, Australian authors, and there have been a smattering of Indian authors, maybe some Asian authors, but I really, really want to expand it even more. And I talked about in my gift recommendation video, which I'll link down below, of a website that a woman has this list of an author and books from every country in the world, and I really want to dive into that list. And I really want to expand culturally what I'm reading. So that's it. That's the 10-year book challenge. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. What are your thoughts on this challenge? What are some answers that you thought of when I was reading the questions? I would love to hear about it down in the doodly-doo, or just say hi. Now, I thought this was a challenge rather than a tag. And since I wasn't tagged by anybody, I'm not going to tag anybody specifically. However, if you're watching and I've tagged you in the past, you know who you are, and this looks like something fun to do, please do it. I had a really good time looking back at my history from 11 years ago, and it was a fun little dive into history. So if this looks like something that you would be interested in doing, please consider yourself tagged. If you're still watching at this point, please consider giving that like button a boop, and a subscribe would be wonderful. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.